Hey, welcome everybody. Here we are, and returning to our Mets replay. We had a doozy of a day yesterday. I can't remember how many games I played, but it seemed like I was playing all day long, which is a great thing. The Mets won yesterday's game, or June 25th's game. We're playing the 2016 season, and today is June 26th. So on June 25th, the Mets won it by a score of it's four big runs there, 8-7, and it was Familia who came in the end and made it exciting, allowing the tying run to get to second base. But he held out and was able to get the next three Braves in order, and he got the save. DeGrom got the win, and we are in Game 74 today. Now, what's fascinating about Game 74, which I will repeat, is that I just looked up the Mets record, and I compared it to the record that we've basically achieved. And our record is 40-33. The Mets record on June 26th, before the game, was 40-33. Okay? Now, I don't even know what to say about that. That's crazy. That's all I can say. So I'm going to mention it a couple more times just to get some feedback. So for the Mets, it's going to be big, sexy Bartolo Colon, who was 15-8 with a 3.43 ERA, against Bud Norris, who was 6-10 with a 5.10 ERA. And we're going to get started right away. It's going to be Johnson, Reynolds, and Cespedes. There's a few Mets that are out, resting. Cabrera, the shortstop, is out. Granderson is out. Conforto is out. So there's a few Mets that normally are in the lineup that are resting today. So here goes. Here's the first pitch to Kelly Johnson leading off. It's going to be a 3-12. That's a ground ball at Garcia. Garcia takes his time and throws him out. One away now for Derek Norris. Here's the pitch. It's 1-7. That's off Matt Reynolds' card. 1-7. That's a ground ball hit at the shortstop. And that's d'Arnaud today. And he throws out Reynolds by a step. Two away. And it's going to be Yoenis Cespedes. 2-9. And that happens to be, I think, the only column 2, which I've already have it memorized, the only column 2 number outside of 2 and 3 and 12 that isn't a hit. And we happen to, for some reason, roll that almost every game. 2-9. And that's a strikeout for Cespedes. Now, Cespedes in our season got off to a slow start, so I've been kind of rooting for him to get on a hot streak and improve his batting average. He's one of the guys that we're tracking, and I will show the batting averages. After about every 10 games, I kind of get all the data together, and I kind of create the average, and I look at the RBIs and home runs, and we can compare and contrast, that sort of thing. So it's the bottom. So no score at the top. The Mets go down in order in the top of the first. We go to the bottom of the first. It's going to be Peterson, Enciarte, and Freeman against Bartolo Colon. And I'm hoping Bartolo Colon does well. Rooting for him. Rooting for him this year. He's attempting a comeback with the Rangers at 45 years old. I always root for those guys. I don't know. There was a guy a few years ago that had pitched a long time in the majors, and he was 48, 49, and he was pitching. Can't remember his name. But I was rooting for him. I thought it was great, and I thought he was doing a great job. They just don't want to spend, take up a roster spot for a guy that's that old. They rather give it to a young guy who they think can improve with time, can develop. They know that a guy like an older guy is not going to be developing. He's actually going to be going in the opposite direction. So every game that he does poorly, they're like, okay, basically he's he's done. He's washed up. So I know what it's like. I run a couple of, well, I partake in a couple of draft leagues and I draft my guys. And sometimes it's like you don't want to take too many of the veterans because ultimately you're going to have a roster spot taken up by a guy who's not going anywhere. Isn't it better to have a roster spot taken up by a guy that in the following season could have a crazy season? You know, like an Aaron Judge. Aaron Judge, in a lot of these fantasy leagues, after his first season, he had a very kind of below average first season. He had 100 and some at bats, he had a few home runs, but he had a low batting average and so on. And, you know, it was few and far between guys that were willing to take a risk, but some guys did. Some guys let me throw them on my roster. I'll keep them on my roster. I'll keep them in the minors or whatever, and let's see what happens. And sometimes you got to do that as a GM. Just pick guys, but it's usually the young guys because you know it's normally the older guys aren't going to be surprising you. They're actually on the decline, to be honest with you. So anyway, that's a lot of talk there, and we're going to go to Peterson now. Let's get back to the game, and that's going to be a 6-5, and that's going to be off Cologne. That's a fly ball to left field, and Kelly Johnson is there for the first out. So Bart gets Peterson to fly out. Here's Ender Enciarte, and that's a 6-4. That ball is lined, caught by the first baseman, Loney. 2 away. So Bart gets the first two Braves to go down, and here is their big hitter, Freddie Freeman. Again, it's off Bart's card, a 4-7. That's a line drive base hit for Freddie Freeman. And it's Marquez 5-4. It's a ground ball hit right at the shortstop. The shortstop today for the Mets is Reynolds. Matt Reynolds. And he's a 4 at short, so it's going to be interesting. A 4 at short, and that's a ball that Matt Reynolds throws across the diamond to get Marquez by a step for the third out. The Braves lead 1, and after 1 inning of play, no score. We go to the top of the second. It's going to be Neil Walker against Bud Norris. And it's a 5-8, and that's a strikeout. Second strikeout for Norris. And it's James Loney. Here's the pitch to Loney. It's off Loney's card, a 2-5 ground ball to the second baseman. And that's Peterson. And throws him out, 2 away. And now it's Wilmer Flores. And that's a 3-5. A 3-5 is a swing and a miss, strike 3. 3 up, 3 down. We go to the bottom half of the second inning. No score. And Bart is going to face Bartolo Colon, Big Sexy as he is known, is going to face Adonis Garcia. 5-5. It's a ground ball to the shortstop. It's a 20. It's Matt Reynolds. And he grabs it and throws him out. AJ Pierzynski. This is his last year before he retires. It's a 4-4. And that's a fly ball center field X. And the center fielder is Cespedes. We rolled a 1. And that's a ball that Cespedes takes a few steps in and makes the catch for the second out of the inning. And it's Frank Gore. And it's 6-4 now. 6-4. That ball is lined and caught by Loney. Second line drive, caught by Loney. Actually, no, the last one was caught by the second baseman, Walker. So 3 up, 3 down here. We go to the top of the third inning. No score. It's going to be Brandon Nimmo, 2-7. And that's a ground ball hit at the third baseman, Garcia, across the diamond, 1 away. Rene Rivera next, and that's off Norris, and that's a 6-5, and that's a ball lifted to deep center field. Back goes Enciarte to the track, to the fence. He looks up, and that ball is gone. Home run for Rene Rivera. Solo shot over the center field fence against Bud Norris. That was a hanger that he got a hold of. And now it's Colon, 1-0 Mets in the top of the third. Excuse me. It's 5-4. It's a fly ball lifted to left field. Left fielder Francoeur makes the catch for the second out. And now it's the top of the lineup for the Mets. It's going to be Kelly Johnson, who's playing. Oh, wait a second. He's playing. Yeah. Kelly Johnson's playing left field for the Mets today. And he grounded out his last at bat. Here's the pitch from Norris. It's a 2-6. And that ball is swung on and lifted deep to center field. Again, Enciarte going back on the run, and that ball's out of here. So 2 home runs in this inning, one for Rene Rivera and another for Kelly Johnson, put the Mets up 2-0. And it's going to be Matt Reynolds against Bud Norris. And that's going to be off Reynolds' card in 11, so that's a hard-hit ground ball right at the shortstop d'Arnaud. And he rifles it over to first for the third out. But the Mets pick up a couple of runs on two solo shots, one by Rivera and one by Reynolds, and lead it going into the bottom of the third by a score of 2-0. So Bart Colon has a little lead to work with. He's going to face Chase d'Arnaud. And that's a 5-6, and that's a fly ball lifted to right. Right fielder Nimmo calling it. And it's the pitcher, Bud Norris. I want to take a quick peek. I don't think that Bud Norris has his own pitcher hit card. He may very well have it, but I'm not going to worry about it right now because I have something that's close to it. He's actually a 6. You don't normally see that. A pitcher's hitting card number 6. So he must be a pretty decent hitter. Yeah, he has a home run on his card. Actually, a couple of home run spots in the 2 column. And that's a 3 column, a 3-7. That's a swing and a miss, strike 3 for the second out. And that's Bart's first strikeout. And it's going to be Peterson now, the top of the order for the Braves. Here's a pitch from Bartolo. Peterson flew out to left field in his last at bat. It's going to be off Peterson's card, a 2-8, and that's a swing and a miss, strike 3. So Colon gets back-to-back strikeouts. So he's dealing here in the bottom of the third. And after 3 innings of play, it's 2-0 Mets. We go to the top of the fourth. And it's going to be Cespedes leading off against Bud Norris. Cespedes struck out on a column 2, number 9. It's a 6. It's going to be off of Norris, a 6-10. And that ball is sharply hit right at the shortstop, d'Arnaud. d'Arnaud is a 4, and we rolled a 9. And that's going to be a ball that d'Arnaud gets to and throws out Cespedes by a step. 1 away. So Cespedes is 0 for 2. And Neil Walker struck out as well in his first at bat. That's a 5-6, and that's a swing and a miss. Strike 3. That's his 4th strikeout, the second out of the inning. And it's going to be James Loney. James Loney grounded to the second baseman in his first at bat. And that's a 6-11. That's a ground ball to the first baseman, Freeman. Freeman is a 2. We rolled a 15. And that's a ball that Freeman takes himself for the third out. 3 up, 3 down here in the top of the fourth. 2-0 Mets. Now, one thing that's pretty amazing about this game is that this is the Mets record is 40-33, and if you look at the stats, at the data from June 26th, the Mets record in reality was 40-33. I don't know what to tell you. Don't know how that happens. Okay, so Enciarte against Bartolo Colon. So it's 4-8, and that's going to be off Colon's card. That's going to be a ball hit up the middle and through to Freeman out on strikes. Third strikeout for Colon, and that's 1 away. And Nick Markakis batted .269 with 4-6, and that's a ground ball hit right at the second baseman. And the second baseman today is Walker, and we rolled a 15. Walker's a 3, and that's a ball that Walker throws over to first, and Enciarte goes to second base. No chance to get Enciarte on that slow grounder to Walker. 2 outs, and it's Adonis Garcia. So 1-11 for Adonis Garcia. That ball is lined, caught by the third baseman Flores, Wilmer Flores, with a nice catch for the third out. And the Braves leave 1. And at the end of 4 innings of play, it's 2-0 Mets. Now, these are the games that the Mets have almost been leading in every game, except they take a small lead or sometimes a larger lead, and they just don't seem to hold it. So it's going to be Wilmer Flores against Bud Norris. Here's the pitch. So it's a 5-9, and that's a swing and a miss, strike 3. 5th strikeout for Norris. Next batter is going to be Brandon Nimmo. Nimmo grounded out in his first at bat. It's 5-9. It's a swing and a miss, strike 3. Second out, 6th strikeout for Bud Norris. I don't know, have I called him Derek? I may have. Bud Norris, and it's a 6-11, and that's a ground ball to the first baseman, Loney. Loney's a 3. We rolled a 1. And that ball gets by Loney, and that's going to be a single. I'm sorry, it's Rivera, so that's Freeman, and Freeman's a 2, and we rolled a 1, and that ball's going to get by Freeman for a single for Rivera. So Rivera's 2 for 2. He homered in his first at bat in the second inning, and now he's single, an infield single that Freeman just didn't have the range to get to. And now it's Bart Colon. So it's the helmet watch now, because when he swings, the helmet goes flying off. Here's the pitch from Norris to Colon. It's 4-8. 4-8. It's a line drive and caught by the second baseman, Peterson. For the third out, the Mets leave 1 here in the top of the 5th. They still lead at 2-0. In the bottom of the 5th inning, it's going to be Bart Colon against Przinsky, Francoeur, and Chase d'Arnaud, the brother of the Mets catcher Travis d'Arnaud. Here's the pitch. It's a 3-7. 3-7 is a line drive base hit for Przinsky. Third hit allowed by Colon. And it's going to be Francoeur. And it's a 3-10. It's a ground ball right back to Colon. And Colon turns around and throws over the shortstop. Back to first, not in time, so it's a fielder's choice. And Francoeur's on at first. 1 out. And it's going to be Chase d'Arnaud. 3-7. And that's going to be a hard hit ground ball right at Loney. He goes over to the second baseman, Walker, and back to, Flores. Flores to Walker, and then to Loney, and it's a 5-4-3 double play. The Mets get out of that inning. Colon is sure happy about that. And after 5 innings of play, it's 2-0 Mets. We go to the top of the 6th. Nice 5-4-3 double play turned by the Mets. There's a lot of changes in these lineups today, so I have a lot of players that I'm not used to seeing at those positions. Like Ibar is not as short. It's Chase Darno for the Braves, and then for the Mets, it's a new left fielder in Johnson, and it's a new shortstop as well in Matt Reynolds. So I'm having to deal with all those name changes all of a sudden out of the blue. All right, leading off is going to be Johnson. Kelly Johnson homered in his last at bat. He's 1 for 2. And that's a 4-9. A 4-9 is a hard hit ground ball at the shortstop, Darno. Darno is a 4. We rolled a 5. And that's going to be a single through the hole for Kelly Johnson. He's 2 for 3. And we're going to see a bunt now. That's right, a bunt. And that's going to be a successful bunt. Over to second goes Johnson. 1 away. Nice job by Reynolds. Don't see that very often in modern baseball. Ciuena Cespedes with runner in scoring position. It's Johnson at second. Here's the pitch. It's going to be off the pitcher's card, Norris. A 5-7. A 5-7 is a ground ball hit right at the second baseman. The question is, will he get to it? Second baseman is Peterson, who's a 3, and we rolled a 12. And he does get to it and throws out Cespedes. Going to third is Johnson, so there's 2 outs now. Johnson at third, and it's Walker, who's 0 for 2. He struck out twice. Now, Walker batted .282 with 23 home runs in a shortened season. He missed 2 months of the season in 2016 with an injury. There's a fly on the field now. It flew away. Okay. Had the garage open for a while. My garage is finished, so it's pretty good shape. I just got to get some fans in here for the summertime. I'm going to have to bring a little AC as well. I got a door right next to me here, so I can make a hole in the top of that door and stick in one of those ACs, and that'll make it beautiful in here. Okay, so it's a 6-9, and that's runner on third base. 2 outs here in the top of the 6th inning. Walker, a 6-9, and that's going to be off of Bud Norris's card, and that's a swing and a miss, strike 3. And that's Norris's 7th strikeout of the game. And that's the 3rd out. So the Mets leave 1, and after 5.5 innings of play, it's 2-0 Mets. In the bottom of the inning, we're going to see the pitcher, Norris, and then Jace Peterson and Enciarte. Oh, and it's a 6-8. A 6-8 for Cologne is a pop-up. And that's going to be on the right side. And Loney is there, 1 away. It's going to be Jace Peterson. Jace Peterson's 0 for 2. He flied out and then struck out. Here's the pitch. 6-8 again, and that's a pop-up. Again, this time Loney towards the seats in foul territory and makes the catch. 2 out. So 2 pop-ups to the right side. Cologne is dealing, only giving up 3 hits up to this point, but every time I say that, it gets ugly. So here's with 2 outs, here's Enciarte. Enciarte is 1 for 2. He singled in his last at bat. That's a 6-4. That ball is lined and caught by Loney. Nice catch by James Loney for the 3rd out. So 3 up, 3 down, and Cologne's retired 5 in a row. We go to the top of the 7th. And the top of the 7th is going to be Loney, who's 0 for 2 against Bud Norris. Yeah. 110. And that's off Loney's card. That's a ground ball hit right at Jace Peterson. He takes his time and whips it to first. One away. Flores is 0 for 2, struck out twice. And that's off of Norris's card, a 5-4. That's a fly ball, and that's launched deep left field. And back goes the left fielder, Francoeur, and makes a nice running catch. How you doing there, Jerry? How are you, man? Good to see you. Or hear you. Or see you, I guess. Brandon Nimmo, he's 0 for 2. Here's the pitch from Norris. And that's a 4-11. A 4-11 is a fly ball right field X. And right field today is Nimmo. Nimmo's a 4. We rolled an 11. And that's going to be a ball that drops in. And that's going to go, oh, wait a second. Nimmo's batting. The right fielder for Atlanta, this has been happening to me throughout the game. Markakis is a 2, so Markakis should be able to get to that. And it's a... So Nimmo's batting. There's 2 outs here in the top of the 7th inning. And it's 4-11, fly ball right field, X11. He's a 2, and that ball drops in for a base hit, but he's going to go back. He thought about going to second, but he's going to stop at first. I really like that about Strat. I like how the X fielding chart works. It's not only always an error, but a lot of times it's a single that the player with limited range just doesn't reach. And as you can see, the better the player, the fewer the bases that he'll allow as a fielder as well, which was really nice to see that. I really like that aspect of this game. But I especially, and I mentioned this very, very often, that what I really love about Strat is that 80% of what goes on is right off the cards. That's what I really love about it. Minimize charts totally. I have 2 charts on the side. I don't look at them all that much, just when there's a lot of X's. But I'm starting to get a sense of what's what now. Okay, so Rene Rivera. Now, Rene Rivera is 2 for 2. He homered and singled. Hit a solo home run in the 3rd inning to give the Mets a 1-0 lead. The Mets lead it here in the top of the 7th by a score of 2-0. And it's with 2 out. Nimmo is at first, and it's Rivera. Here's the pitch from Norris. And that's going to be over Rivera's card. That's a 2-11, and that's a ground ball hit right at Adonis Garcia. And he's going to go to second base with that for the force out. And that's the 3rd out. The Mets lead 1 here. And we go to the bottom of the 7th. After 6.5 innings of play, it's 2-0 Mets. Bart Colon, so far, is holding his own. Starting the 7th inning. And it's going to be Freddie Freeman who singled and struck out. Here's the pitch to Freeman. Off Freeman's card was never a good omen. That's lifted to deep center field. Back goes the center fielder Cespedes to the track and makes a nice running catch right before the wall. 1 away. So Colon got their toughest hitter to fly out for the first out here in the bottom of the 7th inning. It's a 3-8, and that's a swing and a miss, strike 3. That's Colon's 4th strikeout. And the 2nd out of the bottom of the 7th. And now it's Adonis Garcia. Garcia has grounded out and lined out. Here's the pitch to Adonis Garcia. And it's a 1-11. That ball is lined and caught by Flores at 3rd. Flores looking more and more like Brooks Robinson catching those line drives there at 3rd base. Yeah, I think he's due a Gold Glove. What do you think? All right, so that's the end of 7 innings of play. The score is 2-0 Mets. We go to the top of the 8th. It's going to be big, sexy Bart Colon. And that's a 3-10. Colon's got his own card because he hit a home run against James Shields in San Diego. So that's a 3-10. That's a swing and a miss, and there goes his helmet flying off. So Cologne strikes out, and that's Norris's 8th strikeout. 1 away now. Next is Kelly Johnson. Kelly Johnson's 2 for 3. He homered and singled. His solo shot in the 3rd inning gave the Mets a 2-0 lead, and that's the lead that stands right now. So there's 1 out, and here's Kelly Johnson again. 3-6, and that's a swing and a miss, strike 3. 9th strikeout for Norris. And here's a pitch to Reynolds. And that's going to be off Norris's card, a 6-9. That's a swing and a miss, strike 3. So Norris strikes out the side. He thinks he's Max Scherzer, right? Saw Max Scherzer the other day, and man, what a ball player he is. He's out of this world. Okay, so that's we go to the bottom of the 7th inning. The Mets go down in order, and Norris strikes out 3 consecutive Mets here to get his to notch his 10th strikeout of the game. We go to the bottom of the 8th. It's going to be Przinsky, Francoeur, and d'Arnaud. Cologne is still dealing, if you will, but there's action in the Met bullpen. The Mets are 40-33 after 74 games, or, well, after 73 games. This is the 74th game they're playing. And that's the identical record that they had during the season after 73 games. They were 40-33, which is crazy. Because as you can see, the way I play it, it's just, I just roll dice. It's not like I have it planned out that they have to win so many games. Let's let him go. Oh, boy. Okay, Przinsky. Here's a pitch from Cologne. It's off Cologne's card, a 6-11. That's a ground ball, a weak ground ball to Loney, who's going to flip to Bart covering, and that's the first out. Przinsky now, Francoeur now, Jeff Francoeur. Francoeur is 0 for 2. And that's a 4-6. Everything's been off Cologne's card, and that's a ground ball hit at the second baseman, Walker, and that's a 12. Walker's a 3. And that's an out, Walker. Nice play. So now it's Chase d'Arnaud, the shortstop. He's Ibar's resting. Here's the pitch. It's 1-2, and that's a ground ball hit right at second baseman Walker, and he throws him out. 3 up, 3 down for Cologne here in the bottom of the 8th inning. We go to the top of the 9th. 2-0 Mets. So the question is, does Cologne have it in him to pitch a shutout at 43 years of age, which he was in 2016? He's 45 now, right? 2018. All right, Cespedes. Cespedes is 0 for 3. Bud Norris is still in the game. And that's a 2-8. And that's a line drive base hit for Yoenis Cespedes. Anything on the 2 column is usually a hit, except for 4 numbers. So, always rooting for Cespedes. He had a slow start, batting 200 after about 200 at bats, but he started hitting again, and I think he's around 250 now. He batted 280 for the season, so he's not far off from what he actually did. Neil Walker with Cespedes on at first base. The pitch from Norris, it's a 5-11. It's a ground ball back to Norris, and Norris spins around and throws over to d'Arnaud and back to first, and not in time. So it's a fielder's choice for Walker. James Loney, and we're going to see a quick pitching change. Bring in going to bring in Ian Crow. So Crow's coming in. Actually, Johnson, Ogando, Vizcaíno. Let me look at. I think Ogando is a lefty. I want to bring in a lefty to face the lefty. No. You know what? I'm just going to leave it. Taking up a lot of time. All right, here goes James Loney. Walker on at first. It's a 2-8. A 2-8 is a hard hit ground ball right at Freeman. Freeman goes to Darno. Darno back to Freeman. It's a 3-6-3 double play. And that's it for 8.5 innings of play. We go to the bottom of the 9th inning. Colon is going to try for a shutout. It's going to be the pitcher spot. We'll see a pinch hitter. Then it's Pearson and Enciarte against Bartolo Colon, age 43, going for a shutout. Let's see what happens. But there is definitely action in the Mets bullpen. You have Familia and a lefty, Blevins, Jerry Blevins. And it's going to be Emilio Bonifacio coming in to pinch hit for Norris. And there's Bonifacio. Here's the pitch. And it's off of Colon's a 5-7. A 5-7 is going to be a swing and a miss, strike 3. So Bonifacio goes down on strikes. And that's Colon's 5th strikeout of the game. 1 away now. It's the top of the order for the Braves. It's a Sunday night game. So after this, the Mets, I can't remember who they play. Here's a pitch to Jace Peterson. It's going to be off Peterson's card, a 2-6, and that's ball 4. That means that we get to pitch against Freddie Freeman. And that's going to be it for Bartolo. We're going to bring in Familia, who hasn't really lived up to his reputation as a closer, stopper extraordinaire. Look at his numbers for 2016. 3-4, 2.55 ERA with 51 saves. So, I mean, he got the job done. He only gave up 1 home run in 78 innings pitched. So if there's a home run off of, if Freeman hits a home run, it's going to be off of Freeman's card. All right, so Familia's coming in. And Familia, we're going to mark him down as red. There's 1 out here in the bottom of the 9th. The tying run is at the plate in Ender Enciarte. It's 2-0. Mets lead it. And here's the pitch from Familia. And that's going to be off Enciarte's card, which is column 3, which is trouble. 3-6. That's a line drive base hit. And Peterson, I'm going to look at Peterson quickly and look at his speed. He's a 113, so we're going to play it safe. So that's a single. So runners on first and second now with 1 out. And here's Freddie. This is Groundhog Day. Again, the Braves just won't give up. So it's first and second, 1 out, bottom of the 9th. Familia's in there for the Mets. 2-0 Mets lead. And Freddie Freeman. Here's the pitch to Freddie Freeman. It's off Freeman's card. It's in the 1 column, which is not what we want. Or the Mets don't want it. The Braves do want it. Let's see what that becomes. And that ball is lined into the gap. And that's going to score Peterson easily. And Enciarte, they're going to wave Enciarte home to try to tie up the game. And Enciarte is at least a 15, and we rolled a... Oh, wait, we used that already. So we got to roll again. And it's a 2, so Enciarte's safe. So the Braves tie up the game. A 2-run double by Freddie Freeman in the bottom of the 9th inning, and the game is now tied at 2 apiece. Okay. All right. No. Not after the 17-inning game I had to roll yesterday. No. All right, well, there's 1 out. Freddie Freeman is on at second base. Markakis coming to bat. And it's Familia Rivera goes out to talk to Familia, and up comes Markakis. Markakis looks to second base. Freeman doesn't have much of a lead over there. Here's a pitch to Markakis, and it's swung on, and that's lifted to deep right field, and that's going to go in there. That's going to drop in, and around comes Freeman, and that's a walk-off base hit for Markakis, the second time he's done this to the Mets. He's the one who, in that 17-inning game, also walked off. I can't even find that game. So Juris Familia loses it for the Mets. Comes in, faces three batters. They all get hits. A single, a double, and then a run-scoring single by Markakis. A walk-off single, and the Braves score 3 in the bottom of the ninth and beat the Mets 3-2. Holy moly. What's going on? I'm trying to find the oh, there's the extra inning game. Yeah, that was I think it was Markakis in that extra inning game as well. That doubled home. That's right, it was Markakis. So Markakis is killing the Mets. Markakis is kill the Mets in a couple of games. But the Mets had a really hard time in Game 74, keeping the Braves down in the bottom of the ninth. And the Mets' record drops to 40-34. Wow, what a game, guys. What a game. Cologne was coasting. Why did I take Cologne out? Didn't really matter because most of the hits were off the batter cards. So it didn't really matter. And it was right off the exact column that the batters needed to do damage. So that's the roll of the dice. That's the luck of the draw. That's the beauty of baseball. Anything can happen. That's why I play these games, just for those exciting finishes. Unexpected things happen. You know, baseball is the greatest game in the world. It's a lot like it's purely democratic. You know, everybody gets their opportunity. They wait their turn. They get their chance. The rules are the same for everybody. And it's a great game. You never know what's going to happen and who's going to be the hero and who's going to be the GOAT. And that's the beauty of it, man. So I really love baseball. It's a game of failure. It's a lot like life, where you got to go out there. Things don't always go your way. You got, ups and downs on that roller coaster of life. I know I'm getting all philosophical, but this was such a great game. And it just shows that, the Braves didn't give up. They hung in there and until the end, and the Mets thought they had it. They were comfortable. There was one out. And then Peterson managed to walk. Cologne was pulled for Familia immediately, and Ciarte singled. It was first and second. That's when Freeman came in and doubled home Peterson, and it was second and it was a two-run double because they waved Ciarte home, and that tied the game on the Freeman double. And then with Freeman at second base, Markakis hit it into the corner. It drops in, and there was no chance of throwing him out. And a single for Markakis. So walk-off hit, and that's the ball game. So the Mets are now in our replay are 40-34. We're going to game 75. We're approaching the All-Star break, and then we're going to stop there, and then we're going to see what other plan we have to continue rolling some tabletop baseball. All right, guys, so this is Combat Painter signing off for a little while. I've had a lot of rest today, so I'm going to be playing into the night for sure. I slept till about 12, then I turned on MLB.com, watched some of the Mets, the Met game. They lost that. They got killed. Miami is unrecognizable. They don't have anybody. Jeter got over there, man, and he just got rid of everybody. And there's nobody that's recognizable in terms of the names. They're all a bunch of young guys, which is great. No problem with that. But they beat the Mets. Mets haven't won a game in 10 days in the Grapefruit League in Florida. But you know, it's spring training. You're just trying things out. Harvey didn't do too bad. He pitched 5 innings, gave up 3 runs, 5 or 6 innings, gave up 3 runs, and struck out 8. So his changeup was really working. And that's it, guys. I'm going to say goodbye to you now. The final score of this great, exciting game was 3-2. The Braves come back in the bottom of the ninth with a walk and 3 consecutive hits. Markakis walks off. Freeman scores from second base, and Colon gets a no decision. Juris Familia gets the loss, and that's all she wrote. I'll talk to you guys later. Adios.